Today we're talking about 5 unhealthy addictions so many INFJs have and how to avoid them. You know, we are 1% of the population. I know there are studies that say we're 2 or 3%, but the point is we're rather rare. And because we're so rare, our addictions are also very unique. And if we don't have that many examples of, unhealthy behavior and it's considered as unhealthy because it might not be as unhealthy for other types as it is for us, we might be doing more of that than we actually should. So today we're really looking deeper into it. We're going to find out those typical unhealthy INFJ addictions and what to do to avoid them. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you haven't done this so far, to download the free poster on the INFJ Epic Life formula. And if you want to take it to the next level and you say, I'm living my INFJ Epic Life starting today, then get the INFJ Epic Life audio guide. Everything you need to know, you can find in the links in the description. Unhealthy addiction number 1. You guessed it, the help syndrome. The fact that we need to help people on a constant basis. And the way we help people is through understanding them, through reaching out, to making them feel seen, to helping them transform and better their lives. Those are typical qualities of INFJs. And you might say, okay, how can that be a bad thing? Well, everything that you do too much is bad. And this is one of the things that we do, even if it means that we're losing our own integrity, even if it means we're losing all our energy. We keep on giving and we keep on helping, even if it's unhealthy. And the truth of the matter is, we are addicted to this. This is not happening because, we just have good intentions. This is, of course, something that, is a byproduct. We have good intentions. We don't do it in order to get something back from people. But we also have to understand that if we focus on somebody else's life, you know what? We don't have to worry so much about our own life. It gives us the perfect excuse to say, okay, I'm not really improving my life. I'm not, getting down there and looking at what's not working, watering my own grass, creating the life that I'm supposed to have. I can just take care of the people around me and I will feel good, although it hasn't really, improved my life. Again, you might say, isn't that a good thing that, we want good for everybody? And if everybody lived this way, the world would be perfect. And on top of that, I feel good doing that. Well, if you do, no problem. But 99% of all INFJs have been in at least one situation in their life, most likely one situation every week, where they have helped people to such an extent that people weren't appreciative. You have helped them more than they're helping themselves. So the typical codependent, situation. On top of that, people are not being thankful towards you. And lastly, you have given away energy that is not being appreciated. You're probably even enabling people to continue on their negative path because you're there to save them. And on top of that, you are barely making it by in your own life. You're barely keeping your head above water because you just don't have any energy left to give yourself. So how do we change that? Well, first off, it's acknowledgement. It's understanding that when we help people, it's not just out of the goodness of our heart. And that every single time we are about to help people, that we first have a conversation with ourselves and ask ourselves, is this really in the greatest good? Am I doing this because this will be of benefit for the other person, for myself? Is it going to change the situation in any kind of way? Or am I doing that because it seems easier to focus on other people than to focus on myself? And if the answer is the second, then it's about saying to yourself, okay, I have the urge to help another person, but it's probably my addiction speaking. And therefore, I'm not going to go into that much. I'm aware, and now I'm going to take measures into my own hand and I'm going to start helping myself. The way I help other people, I'm going to help myself first. You have the right to do that, and trust me, when you're in a good state, when you're working on creating that INFJ epic life and you do everything while setting the right boundaries, you're going to help people even more than you ever have. So just know this in the back of your mind when you're afraid of giving up that unhealthy addiction. Unhealthy addiction number 2 for the INFJ is a person who could get you out of your life. So it's one thing that there is a task at hand, as in, oh, there's a person and I could help them. It's another thing if you have a person in your life who might be able to rescue you from your life. And this is one of the things that you see INFJs experiencing very often. I had a video once where I was talking about INFJs having a relationship with somebody who's living on a different continent. And I had comments under this video from people telling me, oh, you're using me as an example because I already told you about this in the comment section, a couple of videos ago. And I was like, oh, I remember your comment. But the truth is I wasn't talking about you, because this is something that so many INFJs go through. I was actually talking about another INFJ that I've talked to about this, and I told him I want to use this in one of my videos. And the truth is I was in a relationship with somebody who was living on a different continent. I was obsessed with a person who was living in another country like 10 years ago. This is something that INFJs do so often because it gives us an opportunity to imagine ourselves in their world. Very often it's a romantic interest, but it doesn't have to be. It's just a person that has the ability to take us out of our life. Of course, this is all just happening in our mind, because if that was a reality, you wouldn't have those obsessions. You wouldn't have those addictions. Those obsessive addictions that are all about thinking how our life would be once we live in their world is only working because that's not a sustainable relationship. And we actually use this, as one of the ways to, fuel our addiction, because this is a situation that will never resolve itself. So it has the best potential to become an even bigger addiction. So once we know this, what do? Well, we recognize that if we feel that another person will get us out of our life, then the biggest problem here is that we are not living a life we're excited about. And the life that we're imagining will never ever happen. Because first off, you're imagining how your life would be if you were in their world. This is not how reality actually would be. Like, we have to be aware of that. We think that's exactly how it's going to be. It's not. Reality is always different than what we imagine. There might be, ideas of it. There might be some things that are in common. But in the end, it's a common life just like yours. And the only way to get your life to become more exciting is to, look at your own garden. So that is the first thing. And so secondly, if we first off have understood that our life wouldn't be better if we were in the other person's life, we recognize that this is not going to happen, to begin with. And thirdly, we have to come to terms with the fact that we don't want to look at our own life, right? This is an addiction. It's an addiction to get us away from our problems. And we're probably going to continue doing this until we say, I'm ready to make a change. And this decision is painful. It's something that will require, mental work. It will require you feeling your feelings, feeling all of those uncomfortable things, like really grieving everything that could have been that you are not having in your life, and then saying, okay, now this is where I'm at. Let's make this better. And I guarantee you, if you make that change, you will love it. You won't love it at first, but once you understand that the other thing is just in your mind, it has never been an opportunity to begin with, right? Otherwise, you would be living with that person. And once you do live with that person, or you are in their world, you also understand, okay, my problems haven't really changed because it's still happening through your lens. And what we need to do is change our lens instead of the place we're looking at. Unhealthy addiction number 3 is a sad song, a sad movie, a sad series, or anything that makes you feel sad. Because if you do this, you feel alive. It's so much easier for us to experience deep emotions if we look into, negative things or sad things. For us INFJs, this has a lot to do with how we've experienced life so far. The fact that if we're not actively creating an amazing life, our life can be rather sad. And on top of that, because we're so addicted to helping people, we're going down negative and sad roads with people. So we have conditioned ourselves to feel way more when it comes to sad things than to happy things. I can guarantee you, if you think of, situations where you've been in love, or situations that you felt very intensely, situations where you felt very much alive, they will all have some kind of dramatic undertone, right? It's this Romeo and Juliet thing. I was listening to an INFJ playlist, a while ago, just doing some research. And again, it was all about deep emotions and deep sad emotions. Like, it really hits you where it hurts. And so we have to ask ourselves if this is an addiction of ours because it makes us feel something. And once we feel something, we feel alive. What are we going to do? We're going to continue down that path. And we're going to feel sadder, and we're going to feel more depressed. And the more depressed you feel, the less likely you're going to get out of it and create a life that actually is moving, that makes you feel positively alive, that makes you thrive. It's so much easier to get hooked on emotions that make you feel you're barely surviving, but therefore you feel everything intensely, than to say, oh, I'm going to go the other path. And I won't feel so much in the beginning because I haven't conditioned myself to feel so much. And I have to create new emotions, and I have to create them in such a way that they keep making me happy. And it's not gonna make you feel as alive at first as those sad things were. And you will go back to those sad things over and over again because you feel alive then. But I can tell you this from experience, and I've seen a lot of INFJs experience the same thing. That sad thing makes you feel alive to, let's say, a level of here. And being happy and doing positive things, it starts over here. You don't feel much. So of course you're going to go back to that thing because you feel something. Better to feel something than nothing. But the more you work on this, the more you start, making healthy choices, things that improve your future, the better it starts feeling, the more alive you feel. And nowadays, now having had so much experience with this, when I listen to a sad song like this, I feel it. I feel it for a moment, and then I go right back. Because I know, I don't want to go down that road. That's not a road that makes me feel good in the long run. It makes me feel alive for that second, but that's not worth it. I'm not going to get stuck in that, because once you get stuck in that, it's so much harder to get out. And why is this happening? Because the alternative feels good now. But in order for the alternative to feel good, you need a little bit more momentum. You need to put some effort into it. So when you want to get out of that addiction, it's all about giving yourself the chance to say, okay, I might go back to those sad emotions once in a while because I want to feel alive, but I'm working here on creating a positive, state of mind and a positive life. So eventually this will feel better than this moment over here ever could. And it's not going to take too long, but you have to give yourself some time. Unhealthy addiction number 4, it's doing the bare minimum and doing it in a certain box. So we as INFJs always want to, go the furthest we can go. We want to see what is possible. And if we are in a box that we can't get out, meaning, we have a certain job, we have a certain day-to-day thing going on, we have certain friends, things we do on a daily basis, and we don't actually like that too much, the way we want to optimize the situation is to do less and less that is necessary to keep that state going, to keep that level of abundance. And, you can understand where this is coming from because, that's how our mind works. We're all about optimizing a situation. And if you can't improve it because you're not going to get, a raise at your job in the next 3 years, you're not going to get, a better living situation because you're in this apartment now. You're not going to get better friends. Nothing of this will ever change. And so the only thing that you can do in order to optimize is to see how little effort you can put in. And the more you go into this, the less and less you do. And the less you do, you will start feeling like you're barely alive. And this is something that will happen naturally because, we're not thinking about, we want to optimize the situation somehow. And it's sort of fun in the beginning, but in the end, you're barely living. You're barely feeling alive. You're not experiencing life. You're not really doing things in an abundant state. And, this also leads to depression. This leads us to feeling what for? Right? Nothing's going to change. This is the way my life is. And, I know I cannot change anything. So what is the solution here? Well, we have to change from surviving to thriving. We have to understand that we will never get what we want if we do the bare minimum. That doesn't mean that we should do more, because in this situation, no matter what you do, you're not going to change anything. You can be nicer to your friends. You're not going to get better friends. You can do more at your job. You're still not going to get that raise. So the way we do that is we have to step out of that box. We have to create something new. We have to change a dynamic with our friends. We have to have difficult conversations with, relatives. We have to go out and look for a better job, right? This might not be the solution to it all. It might not be exactly where you want to be. But I always say, if you reach the top of a mountain, even if it's the wrong mountain, it will give you a new perspective. You will see what the next best mountain is, and you know where to go. And you can only do this if you say, I'm going to tap into my SE. I'm going to get as much energy as I possibly can and then step out of that circumstance. I'm going to crush that box. I need to do the most that I can do instead of the bare minimum. And unhealthy addiction number 5 is dissociating from reality. We as INFJs are really good at this, and this can help you to overcome situations that are very harmful. It's a great survival mechanism if the current situation is finite, right? If there's an end to it, that okay, I need to get through this, and then things are going to get better, and then I can associate again. I can really tap into what is going on in my life. I can improve it somehow. I can do my INFJ thing and, live abundantly. I just need to make it through this situation. But most of the time, we're living like this and there's no change, in sight. There's nothing that's going to change. We just hope things are going to change somehow, but, nothing's going to happen if we're not taking action, right? In this, situation. So we have to understand that we do have, a tendency to do that. And we dissociate by, listening to music all the time, by losing ourselves in, TV or whatever it may be. And we as INFJs have a great way of dissociating. Maybe for other types, they can get addicted to TV shows and, numbing themselves and so on. But this dissociation, this is something we can do very well because of our, cognitive functions, And so if we do this, it's that much harder to tap back in. And guess what? You need to tap back into reality. You have to ground yourself, even if not much, a little bit, in order to be able to make some changes. You're never going to feel better about your life if you're dissociating. You can do this for a moment, for relaxation, even for an entire week. Like, go get that free time, enjoy yourself. Like, I, live in my dream world so much of the time, but I can do this because when it comes down to it, I'm making the right choices and I'm making the steps happen that are moving my real life world into the direction that makes me happier every single day, right? And so we have to be aware of, we have this tendency to disassociate, and just because we have this tendency, it doesn't mean that it has to be our future. It doesn't mean that it has to be our destiny. But in order to change that, we have to be the ones who say, I'm an INFJ, I don't have to do all the things, I just have to do the right things from time to time. And, that's what my teachings are all about, to really look at what are the couple of things that we need to change in our life on a consistent basis that will allow us to actually live a relaxed life, to live a soft life, to live an exciting life, full of abundance, and still get the things done that will make the change in your life happen, that will make you feel all of the things you always wanted to. So if you want some more guidelines, remember, get that free poster on the INFJ Epic formula. And if you want to go into the details and you want to get started today, then get the INFJ Epic Life audio guide. Everything you need to know you can find in the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in line with today's topic, then watch the video 5 reasons why being around an INFJ is so addictive.